State House attacker off a ventilator. Construction starts at new Demerara Bridge. And 10 million barrels of crude produced in November. Hi, I'm Rico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see what's happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. 5 days after he was shot during an attack at State House, Bethel Ikenna has regained consciousness and will be interviewed by investigators, according to Crime Chief Wendell Blenheim. Blenheim said, quote, "We have just received some further information that they took him off the ventilator. So as a result of that, a team of investigators are on their way to see if they can interview him in relation to the State House incident." The crime chief said Chinese's condition is still being regarded as critical. Meanwhile, the guard Chinese stabbed is still hospitalized as well. GECOM will now conduct a field exercise to confirm the demarcation of constituency boundaries, if necessary. The decision follows GECOM Chairman Claudette Singh's ruling that Minister Domlov's unilateral order to modify the boundaries is null and void. At a commissioners' meeting yesterday, both parties agreed that Chief Election Officer Vishnu Prasad will do field work to define the borders of 19 local authority areas. GECOM officials must review the borders where adjustments were made in accordance with the minister's instruction during the exercise. Opposition-appointed commissioners argued vehemently that the minister lacked the authority to demarcate the limit of the local authority areas and constituencies, and by doing so, he flouted the Constitution. Nevertheless, the exercise doesn't confirm the new changes, but rather confirms the borders of the existing constituencies that were modified as a result of the minister's order. Accounting and finance professional Mohammed Ibrahim is the new Chief Executive Officer of the Small Business Bureau. Ibrahim took up the position on November 1st, replacing Vanessa Thompson, who had resigned earlier this year. Ibrahim was selected for the position from a pool of applicants who participated in interviews several months ago. In a landmark decision for Indigenous rights in Guyana, on Friday, the High Court ruled in favor of the Upper Mazaruni Indigenous peoples who are seeking legal recognition of their traditional and ancestral lands. The Chief Justice ruled that while the Akawayo and Arakuna peoples have rights to property, they do not have exclusive rights because non-Indigenous peoples also live in the area. The plaintiff, Van Mendison, pushed the case for over 20 years. However, the case stems from a 1967 decision by the government of Guyana to institute an Amerindian Lands Commission tasked with mapping and titling land to indigenous communities throughout Guyana. In 1991, the title was granted individually to each community, though they had requested to hold collective title to their traditional territories. The villages of Paruma, Ramadong, Kamarang, Keiko, Jawala, and Philippi in the Upper Mazaruni have long sought legal title over the area defined by the 1959 Amerindian District as one Akawayo Arakuna District. The decision has been welcomed as a win for several indigenous rights groups in Guyana.
Did you know it's bad luck to start the new year with a Brock-up truck? Make this a December to remember with Powered Automotive. Powered Automotive has truck parts and spares from all the major brands you know and love at prices you won't find anywhere else. Visit them at 491 EE Eccles or call or WhatsApp them on 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana.
It's officially robbery season. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, K9 services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. According to the Vice President, the new Demerara Harbor Bridge is being built by China Railway and Construction Corporation, and it is still on schedule to be completed within a 2-year time frame. Jagdeo recently stated that construction on the new $261 million bridge has already begun. He also stated that the bridge's completion date will coincide with the completion of the Gas to Shore project and the new route from Schoonard to Crane on the West Bank. Early this morning, the bodies of 5-year-old Rashona and 1-year-old Josiah Atkinson were recovered from the Pomeron River just hours after they fell overboard during a boat collision the previous night near St. Monica in Region 2. According to reports, the children and their parents were heading home after 8 p.m. when the boat struck a floating object in the river, thus capsizing the vessel. Their parents managed to reach the shore, but sadly, the children did not. According to the police, no one was wearing a life jacket, and they were navigating the river by cell phone light. Yesterday morning, 11-year-old Tanisha Johnson was found dead outside her home in number 50 Village Quarantine, Belize. Her mother said she had only left the house for just a few minutes when a 9-year-old child alerted her to the other child's condition. Her mother found Tanisha motionless under the hammock that was tied under a fruit tree in their backyard. The child was taken to the Skeldon Public Hospital, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. The 15-year-old Christchurch Secondary School student who was rescued by a football coach from a further beating by his schoolmates has been discharged from the hospital and is now recovering at home. The football coach, Troy Wright, recalled intervening to save the life of the already bloodied and unconscious boy at the Burnham basketball court in Georgetown on December 7th of this year. He held on to one of the suspected assailants and called the police and an ambulance at the same time. The other students, he said, fled the scene. Meanwhile, the police have since questioned the two 15-year-old suspects and recommended charges be held against them. Now for today's oil update. Guyana produced 10.78 million barrels of crude in November 2022, according to the government's Petroleum Management Program. Total production averaged 359,490 barrels per day. The Liza Destiny produced 4.45 million barrels, while the Liza Unity produced 6.32 million barrels. With total output at October's end being 79 million barrels, November takes the total to 89.79 million barrels. Guyana's oil output is expected to increase significantly next year as the third project, Demerara, comes online, adding another 220,000 barrels per day of production capacity, taking output to 580,000 barrels per day overall on the Starbrook block. Yes, so by this time next year, we will be pumping well over 500,000 barrels of oil per day. As an independent online news entity, being politically objective can cost you a lot of money in lost sponsorship opportunities. That's because most local companies are often too scared to associate themselves with a news entity that is uncompromising with the truth. We do appreciate our sponsors, as their support is what has allowed us to maintain our integrity without fear and remain dedicated to you, our viewers. Every night, thousands of viewers rely on Uncut News because they are tired of the biased and poorly presented mainstream media in Guyana. But to truly compete, we need your help to grow Uncut News from being the most watched online news to the most watched news in Guyana, period. Help us by becoming a monthly subscriber today. There are special rewards at every subscription level, including your name in the credits, personalized gifts, and more. Your monthly contribution helps us to stay independent by spending less time worrying about paying the bills and more time on keeping you informed. So click the link in the description of this video and become a subscriber today.
You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Toyota Crown Athlete. It comes with Bluetooth mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog alarm, spot camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $9.95 million, or pay as low as $1.99 million down with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit the showrooms at 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, a lot to Amashi, and Southern America Century for this sweet tea.
Now for our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose the question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Last night I asked, since they are planning to change the cybercrime bill, I want to know what are some other laws that need amending. SDG7 says that we should really improve in areas such as immigration. We have a lot of people who are not registered or even legally allowed to be in Guyana. Dimitri V says that they need to repeal whatever law that allows someone to build their own house on your property, because that very thing happened to their great uncle, and they've been stuck in a long and exhausting court battle when it should just be labeled illegal from the get-go. Someone can't just set up shop on your land that you paid for just because you're not physically there. Like, it should be well within my right to destroy that property because it's technically on my property, so it's my property at that point. And finally, the realist one says traffic laws. For tonight's question, I want to know what's a pressing issue going on in your community. So I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Nico Bulford saying good night, folks.